Hello everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the 5 surprising encounters that we have had as an interracial couple. Guys, this isn't a political channel, but we're just sharing our experiences as an interracial couple. This is probably going to be the last video on this series.
But first and foremost, we are Christians, and what we're about is truth and transparency. And so even within our relationship, this is not really the focal point, but it's just something that we know will help other couples out there to just deal with and manage some of the challenges they might face as interracial couples.
Yeah, and to also highlight the fact that it is something worth talking about if you are an interracial couple, intercultural, whatever it is. Because you might just be sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, but you haven't had that conversation.
Well, the other point to note is that whilst this topic is about race, it's all about us as a couple, as Bethel just mentioned a moment ago, being able to have deeper and richer conversations around some of the other issues or baggage, as we recorded in a previous video, that you might bring into a marriage. And actually, without these conversations, you might find that your relationship and your marriage might actually struggle.
And you know, it's really interesting, us filming these conversations, we've had deeper conversations about it. And actually, like the other day, we were talking about your experience of coming into my family and what that was like, and being like, actually, you know, there was this thing that actually being mixed race was like the coolest or the best thing to be, because you've got the mixture between hairs, you have curly and straight, you've got the olive skin, you know.
Well, I think it's interesting coming into a family where, as Beth just said, you know, everybody was under the impression or thinks or believes that having olive skin or slightly lighter skin is the better thing to have. It's more fashionable, it's more trendy, it's more acceptable, and you know, the list goes on. But for me, where I felt secure being myself, it was actually quite startling and quite, I don't know, I guess in a very different way, interesting to know. It's like, oh, really? I didn't realise this existed.
But now we're kind of rewriting that narrative, aren't we? And we're like, no, actually everything is beautiful.
Absolutely.
And not just when you have straight hair or curly hair or whatever, like you're beautiful.
Well, God, as we said in the last video, God is the one who created each and every human being. And so I know these days you can get designer babies and stuff like that, but that's not what we're talking about. At the end of the day, you know, children are all gifts from God. That's what we believe in, that's what Scripture says. And so we value and appreciate everyone, and that's what the conversation's about, really. Yeah,
so today we're going to be telling you about the 5 encounters that we've had that were surprising to us. There's been loads more, but these ones kind of stand out when we think about our journey. So, number 1.
And this one's a shocker, because I was at church one day, so you can imagine in a spiritual setting, you know, where everybody, you know, children of God all gather together to kind of, you know, just lift our hearts in praise and worship to our God, right? All of a sudden, there were people who were more mature within the church actually called me aside and said, hey, we've noted that you fell in love with Bethel all because she was light-skinned.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was taken aback. I was thinking, really?
What?
But obviously, unbeknown to them, you know, I'd known Bethel, as I said in the previous video, for, I don't know, eons of years. You know, I was able to look past, you know, what Bethel looked like and actually see her heart, because that's the thing that I found in love with the person as a character.
And I feel like those people were brave enough to say it, but there definitely is a lot of people out there who think that and like, oh, he only got with her because she's mixed race.
I hadn't realised that there was a further conversation to have, what people might think of us coming together. I mean, we didn't think it was a problem, but clearly, you know, there was a conversation that we needed to have in order to ensure that we were in a safe space between ourselves, that if that conversation ever came up, we'll know exactly how to address it. So that was a learning curve for me.
Number 2, we were at this international convention, and some people, not everybody, but some people are of the opinion that you should marry within your own race. So we went to this conference, and people don't know us. People, like, when you look at us, people won't know I'm from Zimbabwe necessarily, or even both of us, because sometimes we can sound quite British depending on who we're talking to.
I could have been Caribbean, I could have been from Brazil, for all you know.
So people tend to like look at us and like make a judgment, especially depending on what my hair is like. If my hair is really curly, then they'll be like, oh yeah, black couple.
Again, it depends on where they're from.
Where they're from, whether they've had exposure to like different mixes and things like that. So sometimes people look at us and think like, especially if my hair is really straight or something like that, and it's wintertime without a tan.
They think I'm either a Caucasian.
And then they look at him like really funny, like,
you can pick something from your own race now.
So yeah, we went up to this prayer line, and then
so you know, they had a tunnel which you would walk up to, and then you'd be prayed for by people on either side of that tunnel.
And it was a youth convention as well, we must mention, because we do look quite young sometimes. So I think people thought we were young, and like, I don't think I was wearing my wedding ring.
Ill-advised? Is that what
I don't think I was wearing my wedding ring either at the time. And then he kind of stopped, and he was like...
Well, it was, as you walk up, you say what it is that you want prayer for. And so we went up there, and that's what I mentioned.
And the first thing he asked was, are you two married?
Yeah.
But
no, yes, we are, yeah.
It was the way it was like asked, like as if...
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
So that was number 2. So number 3 was when we went for the scan.
Yeah.
And they were booking us in, and they were writing our details down. They were like, so father, Black African, mother, Caucasian. And I was like, no, mother's not Caucasian. And like he was like, what do you mean you're not Caucasian? Yes, you are. Mother, Caucasian. I was like, no, mother's not Caucasian. Yeah. But yeah, that's not the first time I've had to fight to tell people I'm not Caucasian, or I'm not black, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. That's a story for another video.
I guess I was just thinking about how people can put you in boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
And if anything, I think there's a group out there, a martial arts group, who help young children be able to actually, I suppose, understand their identity and the challenges that could arise as a result of that. So it helps them prepare for those conversations, or at least, it gives them the security of knowing who they are, so that they can withstand whatever challenges they might face along the way. Number 4.
After we had Micah Seth, when he came out, Micah Seth looked like he was of Indian heritage. Okay? In fact, Rhea also looks like she's of Indian heritage. And this is the thing about being mixed. You can literally look like anything.
Well, we've got our friends, and they're Indian, from Goa, and you could place, at the time, you could place Micah Seth with them, and he would look like their child.
Rhea.
And even Rhea.
They both look like their children. Yeah. Like, if I left them with them, they would be their children.
They're class, yeah.
I had my lady come over who was doing my eyebrows, and she was just like,
he's one of us, no?
He's one of us, no? Yeah, like,
it was good the way
the dad is Indian.
And I was right there.
And then when the dad came down, she was like, okay.
Yeah. It wasn't awkward, it was just one of those explainer. So, oh no, I am the dad. And no, I definitely am the dad.
They're not Indian, no.
No.
Number 5, and this one wasn't so funny, but like looking back at it now, I mean, funny that people would go to those extremes because of their viewpoints.
Right.
When we got married, my favorite uncle decided to boycott our wedding.
Are you sure he boycotted?
He boycotted.
Was it just a case of maybe his car ran out of fuel, or he didn't get the directions in time?
He boycotted the wedding. Because when he found out that I was marrying a black guy, he was like, no, this is not right. You.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He was like, this is not right. Yeah. He spoke to my dad, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I'm not coming. Basically, he didn't come to the wedding. And that really, really hurt me. He wasn't the only family member who boycotted our wedding. So that was like a huge surprise for me. I didn't think that people would get to the point of boycotting your wedding. I've had to do a lot of forgiving since then. And actually, my uncle is now saved. At the time, he wasn't. And he did apologize. And he said, you know what, Beth? At that time, I actually thought that you were making the biggest mistake of your life. I have to take it back. That Mark is an amazing husband and absolutely lovely.
Oh, this is for him, by the way, not for me.
And he's the best thing that ever happened to you. And literally, and then that's how he got his nickname, Marco the Sparko.
Yeah, so they do call me Marco the Spark.
Marco the Spark. So we're going to conclude this topic here, guys. And not that we don't have more to talk about. We will probably later on in life, but we don't want this to become the focal point of our channel. There's loads of things that we want to share about child rearing and everything in between. Okay? Absolutely. So if you've got anything that you want us to talk about in terms of child rearing, literally from conception to having them to rearing them to all that, email us. We'll put the email in the description below. Any topics that you want us to talk about, and then we will. Okay, thank you.